After China's crackdown campaign, the notorious four great families that once ran massive scam centers in Myanmar have been dismantled. People were bought and sold like commodities. Iron cages were used as punishment, fingers were severed, and there were even so-called human sacrifice rituals. These horrifying details were revealed during the interrogation of some of Asia's most infamous crime bosses, exposing the nightmare inside scam centers along the China-Myanmar border. The suspects were members of powerful criminal families who relied on political connections, money, and private armies numbering in the thousands to build billion-dollar empires from illegal gambling, phone and online scams, drug production, prostitution, and a wide range of other illicit activities. Following an extensive crackdown, Chinese authorities arrested many members of these scam gangs. Their confessions behind bars were widely broadcast by the media, serving as a warning to the public and a deterrent to anyone considering involvement in criminal networks. "Do I need to have any feelings?" one suspect asked indifferently when police questioned him about allegations that he had killed someone as part of a sacrificial ritual. "Isn't that a human life? A living person of flesh and blood?" a police officer asked in footage aired by China Central Television, CCTV, last October. Wearing a blue prison uniform, his hands shackled to a table, the man replied, "I don't feel anything at all." The suspect was Chen Da-wei, a member of the Wei family, one of several mafia-style criminal clans operating in Kokang, a town in the Kokang region of northeastern Myanmar, just a few kilometers from China. Chinese police accused Chen of shooting a person to death in a sacrifice ritual, simply to demonstrate his commitment to business partners. The victim was randomly selected by Chen's subordinates. In a documentary, Chinese media reconstructed a scene in which Chen ordered his men to empty all the bullets into the limbs of a rival he was disputing with. Police said the victim's body was found bound with iron chains and rope with 7 bullet holes in the skull. Chinese investigations have laid bare a brutal world of scams where everything revolves around money, power, and territorial control. These networks lured thousands of Chinese citizens and defrauded victims around the world of billions of US dollars. For many poor farmers in Myanmar's mountainous Shan state, growing opium poppies has long been a means of survival. Far removed from national power centers such as Yangon, Mandalay, or the capital Naypyidaw, the region forms part of the border area between Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand, known as the Golden Triangle. For decades, it has been a haven for criminal organizations involved in drug production, gambling, trafficking in narcotics and wildlife, and human trafficking. Nestled between the Salween River to the west and China's Yunnan province to the east lies the Kokang Self-Administered Zone, where most local residents belong to the Kokang ethnic group, ethnic Han Chinese, who speak Mandarin. Since Myanmar gained independence from Britain in 1948, Kokang has been a focal point of struggles among militias and ethnic armed groups vying for influence and territorial control. Drug production, and more recently gambling and online scams, has come to define the region's economy. In this chaotic, lawless environment, a small number of powerful clans, known as the Four Great Families of Kokang, built their empires, transforming the once quiet town of Kokang into a glittering casino city and a hub of the global scam industry. The Bai, Liu, Wei, and later the Ming families built and operated more than 100 scam compounds where thousands of people were lured or trafficked into defrauding strangers online using sophisticated schemes, according to Chinese prosecutors. Kokang was like a lawless Wild West, said Jason Tower, a senior expert at the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, GITOC. A massive cluster of casinos right on China's border, focused almost entirely on attracting Chinese gamblers. That should have been a major red flag. The global scam industry, with most of its centers in Southeast Asia, is estimated to be worth between $50 billion and $70 billion. Criminal families began rising to prominence in Kokang around 2009. Amid power struggles and internal conflicts, Bai Sochen, the head of the Bai family, along with 3 deputies, rapidly built influence and came to dominate the region's economy and politics. The Bai family and its allies owned companies in hospitality, real estate, and casinos, backed by a private army of about 2,000 men, according to Chinese state media. Other families, led by Wei Chao-ren, Liu Zhengchang, and Liu Guoyi, controlled casino networks, large-scale real estate and industrial projects, and mining operations. They established a militia known as the Kokang Border Guard Force. Members of families and associates also held seats in the Shan State Parliament. Corporations affiliated with these families operated throughout Myanmar and even overseas. They invested in state-backed projects, while profits from casinos and scams were funneled back into Myanmar's economy. The Wei family controlled military power. The Liu family controlled finances. The Bai family played a more political role, said Tower. Ming Shuchang, a later emerging clan leader, was responsible for the police force in Kokang. In terms of power in Kokang, our Bai family was definitely number 1. Bai Yingshang, son of Bai Sochen, said during a police interrogation aired by CCTV. No matter how wealthy the Liu family was or how powerful the Wei family was, everyone acknowledged us as the leaders. In both politics and the military, our family had the greatest influence. The family's business ties also extended to local Chinese officials, who at the time were trying to promote cross-border economic zones and trade fairs with Myanmar, analysts said. After the COVID-19 pandemic, online scams became the family's most lucrative tool. According to Chinese state media, torture, beatings, and labor trafficking were routine in the scam camps, and each family used its own militia to control workers. Disobedient workers were locked in iron cages or confined to cramped dark rooms where they were beaten or deprived of food and water until they complied. In the dark room, 7 or 8 people beat me at the same time. They used plastic pipes, clubs, and even pliers to pull out my fingernails. Then they used a kitchen knife to chop off 2 of my fingers, said Liao, a survivor from a Bai family scam compound, in an interview with CCTV. Another survivor, surnamed Zhu, said he was initially persuaded to carry luxury watches across the border to make money. As soon as I reached the border, I was captured and sold. They said if I didn't generate revenue, they would sell me again or bury me alive. Chinese investigators also found dozens of women forced to prostitution within the compounds. Their documents and phones were confiscated, and they were detained until they repaid fabricated debts. While thousands of victims lived in fear, the scam families enjoyed extravagant lives, hosting lavish parties and owning hundreds of luxury cars, expensive watches, helicopters, villas, and high-value overseas properties. They believed themselves untouchable, and for a long time they were. The criminal centers grew too large and too fast. Their crimes, including the killing of Chinese citizens who attempted to escape scam compounds in Kokang, eventually drew Beijing's attention. In 2023, China launched a crackdown. For the Bai, Liu, Wei, and Ming families, their golden age began to collapse. At least 65 people linked to these families, including key members, were arrested, transferred to China, and prosecuted. In September 2025, 11 members of the Ming family, one of Kokang's largest scam compounds, the Wohu Villa, were sentenced to death by a Chinese court for fraud, intentional homicide, and intentional injury. Ming Shuchang, the family patriarch, was reported to have committed suicide during his arrest. According to court announcements, his son, Ming Guoping, a Kokang militia leader, along with his daughter and granddaughter, were also apprehended. 5 members of the Bai family, including Bai Sochen and his son, Bai Yingsheng, were sentenced to death in November last year. More than 20 other members received prison sentences from 3 years to life. In October, Chinese prosecutors also filed charges against members of the Wei family, including leaders Wei Chao-ren and Wei Huai-ren, along with their nephew Chen Da-wei. They face accusations including online fraud, intentional homicide, and extortion. Members of the Liu family face similar charges, including fraud, extortion, unlawful detention, organizing gambling operations, facilitating prostitution, and drug trafficking. Beijing has not only targeted crime bosses in Kokang. Since 2023, more than 57,000 Chinese citizens accused of participating in scam operations have been arrested and repatriated from Myanmar. In December 2025, China's Ministry of Public Security released a wanted list of 100 suspects involved in financing and operating phone and online scam networks. Over the past year, China has also shifted greater focus to scam centers along Myanmar's border with Thailand. The crackdown was triggered by the kidnapping of actor Wang Xing, who was lured to Bangkok in January 2025 for a fake film audition. Instead, he was abducted at the airport and taken to a scam center in Myawaddy, Myanmar, another notorious scam hub across the Thai border. Public outrage over the kidnapping prompted China and Thailand to take tougher action against scam compounds in southeastern Myanmar. In February, about 7,000 people were rescued from several compounds in Myawaddy, and Myanmar authorities announced raids on multiple buildings inside major scam centers as part of a sweeping campaign. By November, Thailand had extradited Shi Jijiang, a Chinese national linked to scam and gambling operations in Shui Koko, Myanmar, back to China to face charges. However, experts warn that those rescued represent only a small fraction of the people still trapped and forced to work in scam centers. Even as major crime bosses are jailed or stripped of power, the criminal syndicates behind the scam industry continue to expand rapidly worldwide. I still feel dissatisfied because there are fugitives who have not yet been brought to justice, said Feng Haidong, a senior official at the Shenzhen Public Security Bureau, in a documentary aired on Chinese state television. Anyone who commits a crime must return to face punishment. No matter how far they flee, we will never give up. Thank you for watching this story. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. And now it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for staying with Societal Stories.